Oh, I should just start this over. Me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Amerlin Study. I'm Jess, your Amerlin seat. Tonight, we're doing something a little bit different. My friend Jenny over at LezbiNerdy tagged me in a list of 10 questions about the upcoming Wheel of Time TV show. Vance from the Bard of the Red Hand put that together, and today it's my turn to answer them. But before we do that, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Be sure to take a second to subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Give me a follow on social media as well. You can find me at Amerlin Study on Twitter and Instagram. And if you like what I'm doing and you want to support the show and help keep the lights on in the Amerlin Study, you can head over to my Patreon. That's amerlin.study/Patreon. Now, in other news, I just launched my website, amerlinstudy.com. It's true. Among other things, you'll find a list of shows that I've been a guest on and a page featuring my patrons. And speaking of patrons, today we welcome another sitter to the hall, Trailer Park Supervisor Jim Leahy. Thank you for your support, bud. Tell Randy I said hi, and don't let Ricky get you down. Now, let's fucking talk Wheel of Time on TV. Question 1. What is the biggest change you want to see in season 1? I think that we definitely need to get the prologue because we need to get, I feel like, that background of the breaking, but I want to see more than just Luz Theron losing his shit. I would love to see actual, footage of the breaking. Maybe see them sealing the bore with, a narration over the top or something like that, and then see the male channelers going mad and all of this other stuff, so then we have more context for when Luz Theron actually loses his shit and is, looking for his dead wife, that kind of things. And then from there, we get to see Dragonmount. Another thing that I think would be really cool for them to put in would be some footage of, what do they call it? The vileness? Or whatever it is, that period where the Red Aja were going out and basically just killing male channelers with impunity, not handling the situation the way that, according to, policy. Get a little background on that. I don't know that it's necessary, but if they can, if there's a way that they can, if they make any other changes to the series that make it so that that information would be relevant, I suppose that it could go in contrast to how the Red Aja is dealing with the false dragons now, with Mazrim Taim and Logain and all that shit. So that might be interesting to do that. The only other really major thing I think I'd like for them to change is to hold on to the secret of who the Dragon Reborn is for longer. I think making it more of a mystery is going to add a certain amount of suspense and, maybe make the stakes a little bit higher for the audience. It might make it a little bit, not like it isn't already interesting. If it weren't, I wouldn't be recording this video right now. But, getting the viewers invested and talking about it and saying, who do you think the dragon is and stuff like that. And, that would also mean, making it possible that a woman could be the dragon, which I feel like that should be fine. So, yeah, I think those are the major things. The only other thing is, Matt and Rand's trip down the Camelin Road can be significantly shortened. Let's just zip that right up. Let's shorten that up by a fair amount. We do not need, an entire episode devoted to them walking. This isn't the Fellowship of the Ring. Just kidding. I love the Fellowship of the Ring and every other Lord of the Rings book. I think a travel montage would definitely do better here. They can probably cut out some of the various inns that they stop at. It doesn't have to be a full detailed thing, at least until they get to the Dancing Cartman. Which makes me think of Eric Cartman from South Park. Just now, I thought of that. So somebody do me a favor and make an inn sign with Eric Cartman on it. That is what I need. So let's see. Okay, question number 2. What is the most important thing from The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, or New Spring that the show should not change? Well, obviously they shouldn't change who the dragon is. I think that that would be silly. What happens in the Great Hunt? I definitely don't want to see them gloss over Lan sort of taking Rand under his wing and like training him and, you know, kind of departing words of wisdom and shit like that. For a few different reasons. First of all, it's just an interesting relationship dynamic. Secondly, it provides context for Rand learning the skills that he needs to basically survive the rest of his journey. And it also shows a softer, more human side of Lan. You know, if we see him as this stony persona all the time, seeing him become invested in someone other than Nynaeve and Moiraine, I think will just help to make him a more well-rounded character. There are probably other things, but I don't remember what happens in each book. After the Eye of the World, it all blends in together. So that's what I've got there. Number 3, which characters do you want streamlined? This can be characters that you want combined, pared down, or cut. That's a tough one. I'm not sure how critical Elsa Grinwell is, and I don't think that that's probably going to be a really popular take, and I'm sorry. She comes back later, but she, honestly, for what happens, she could be anybody. So I don't really see why she would be necessary, so she could go, probably. I mean, we could cut Gawain. I would have no problem with that whatsoever. Like, that would be fine. They might be able to combine some of the dark friends that attack Rand and Mat on the Camelin Road. Like, we can make it 1 attack instead of 2. I don't know that the volume of attacks is necessarily, like, super critical. They could probably combine some white cloaks. They're all interchangeable, right? Yeah, I'm sure that there are people who have much more brilliant ideas about this than I do, but there isn't anything that comes immediately to mind that could be cut, or at least not anything else that comes to mind. Question number 4. Which cast member are you most excited to see bring their character to life? That's another really hard question because I'm extremely excited for all of them. Based on the most recent Amazon Prime clip where we got to see Moiraine for the first time, my hype for her reveal has increased significantly. Seeing the Supergirls, of course, is going to be amazing. But if we're just going from a pure thirst perspective, I can't wait to see Lan. I cannot wait to see, like, how he looks. I can't wait to see how he acts. I cannot wait to see his sword forms. Like, unfold that fan, baby. Get it. Like, very excited about that. Also, definitely really excited to see how Zoe brings Nynaeve to life. I feel like Nynaeve would be a difficult character to get just right. Because she needs to be a little bit overbearing, but not too overbearing. Like, not overbearing to the point of being obnoxious. And I think that that's a really fine line to walk. So, you know, I am excited to see if Zoe is able to walk that line. Yeah, pretty core group centric. Which cast member are you the least excited by, but hopeful that they will smash your expectations? I can say with complete honesty that there is not a single person that I'm not excited about. Like, every single person they seem to have great experience and credentials, and I love that they are all so diverse. And so I don't have any misgivings about any of them. I think that they're all going to be fantastic. It isn't even that I am not excited about it, but I am, let's say, interested to see how a younger Tom goes. We've got, like, punk rock Tom. We've got a younger Tom who plays the guitar. And so, you know, I'm wondering how that's going to go and, like, what that's going to look like. I'm sure that Mr. Guillaume is going to do a great job, so I don't have any misgivings there, but he does seem like the largest departure from the sort of core character specs, for lack of a better way of putting it. So I'll be interested to see how that all plays out. All right, question 6. Which scene from the first half of The Eye of the World are you most excited to see adapted to screen? So before the cast splits at Shatter Logoth. Okay. The Weep from Manetheren speech. I cannot wait to see the Weep from Manetheren speech. Like, hook that shit up and inject it directly into my veins. Given what I know of Rosamund Pike, she's gonna fucking crush it. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be iconic. It's gonna put, like, every other fantasy monologue that's ever been monologued just in the fucking trash can. And this is coming from a big time Lord of the Rings bitch. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that's really great in Lord of the Rings, and if she nails it, I think that that's gonna, like, blow even all of that out of the water. So I am fucking stoked for that scene. Question 7. Based on the few teasers we have so far, what are your opinions on the style and aesthetic the show is going for? It's really hard to tell with what we've gotten so far. It feels like they're going with a pretty classic fantasy aesthetic with some interesting changes. An example of that is the way the houses are shaped in Emond's Field. If you've seen any of those pictures, they have an almost kind of like barn-like roof. They're kind of domed almost with like a peak at the top. I think that that's really interesting. I get the impression that they're really working to strike this balance between what is sort of familiar in fantasy while making it something truly unique. So I'm extremely excited to see where they go with it. Question 8. Do any of the props and settings we've seen so far match your mental image of the world? I'm going to say yes. The Tam's sword, I think, first and foremost, is the one that really matches the way I imagined it. You know, just the shape of the blade, the length of it, just the overall silhouette of the weapon. It's really how I imagined it in my mind. At least on subsequent readings, the first time through, I imagined it a little bit more like a scimitar. So more of like a bigger flare at the end before it goes to the curved point. But after reading again and getting the description, and my thought process switched to the more katana kind of looking thing. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Yeah, and honestly, going back to the houses in Emond's Field, I just really like the look of them. I'm not going to say that it matched the aesthetic that I imagined, but it still looks perfect, basically. It looks perfect. Kind of like when I saw Bag End for the first time in the Fellowship of the Ring. It was exactly what I imagined, and I was over the moon about it. Let's see. Question 9. Give an example of what you expect the music for the series to sound like using a past TV show or movie score that you think is close. I'm trying to keep my expectations managed, because when you have expectations, when those expectations are not met, you are disappointed. And I don't want to be disappointed when this show comes out. I want to be delighted. So I'm not going to say that I'm expecting it, but what I'm imagining, and to some extent what I'm hoping for, is something really epic and cinematic like Howard Shore's score for The Lord of the Rings. Every single theme, leitmotif, sweeping, just orchestral, crescendo, all of it was just so perfect in every single moment of those movies. I can get really nitpicky about them. There are things that I have a problem with, especially in The Two Towers. I'm not going to get into it. I never once thought, oh, I don't like the way that music works there. It was perfect. It was absolute, just epic fantasy perfection, and I really hope that they are able to do something similar to that, not necessarily even in the way that it sounds. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to sound exactly like what Howard Shore wrote, but in that spirit of just the epic, sweeping, call in a real orchestra, don't, make it on a synthesizer kind of thing is what I'm really hoping for. Now, I don't know. I know that Amazon has got a massive budget for this production, but I'm not sure that they're allotting enough to hire an actual orchestra, so I probably should not keep my fingers crossed for that, but a girl can dream. Let's see, number 10, tag other creators or friends and share. I am going to call on Master of the Deck, aka Kayla, the ladies over at Water and Shade, Christy Lee Luss, and of course my partners in crime, Recappa, Sedai, and Nae'blis. Balls in your court, people. Let's see what you have to say. Once again, please take a moment to like and subscribe to my channel and check me out on Patreon, amerlin.study/Patreon. Another big thank you to all of my patrons, including but not limited to my newest sitter, Trailer Park Supervisor Jim Leahy, which will never stop making me laugh. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, go to Netflix, watch just even the first episode of Trailer Park Boys, and then you'll know. And you're welcome. Well, I think I'm going to let you go. Until next time, stay hydrated and just, be cool. Just be nice to people.